Hi neighbors, my name is Gary Doyle and I am running for the Richwoods HOA Board of Directors. My family and I moved here a little over a year ago from Southwest Washington, and while we were there I had the opportunity to serve on a couple of different HOAs, one as the tennis committee chairperson and then the other as a board member for 4 years, serving as vice president for the last 2. When we moved to Richwoods, I had no desire to serve on the HOA board. I was going to really just enjoy being a resident, maybe serve on a committee, and just, enjoy the Richwoods experience. However, an incident took place that made me change my mind. And unfortunately, that incident involved the current board of directors. We were gathered for the May board meeting, which turns out is the only board meeting that we've had in 2021. And the board was unwilling to sit down at the table together. They were arguing amongst themselves, didn't want to hold the meeting, and actually had to be talked into starting it up. That's just disappointing. That's not the way an HOA association needs to be run. It needs leaders that have a mature temperament, that are willing to listen to differing ideas and work together for what's best for the community. And when I saw them bickering amongst themselves without even starting the discussions about what was best for the neighborhood, I realized that it was time for new leadership if this association was going to be successful. So we've had some meet and greets, and people have asked, what are your top 3 priorities? And I really have one priority that I think if we're able to engage it, will make a world of difference in bringing this community closer together. And that priority is to improve homeowner engagement. That's done really 3 ways: through regularly scheduled board meetings, through increased community activities, and increased committees. So the board meetings really stems from, there's a group of residents that feels like their concerns are not being heard. And when you don't have an opportunity to have face-to-face conversations with the board in a public setting, that adds to that belief that you're not being listened to. As I said before, there was only 1 board meeting for this year, and with a community this size, monthly board meetings have to happen. And otherwise, the perception is that decisions are being made behind closed doors, and it's not for the well-being of the entire community. And so holding regularly scheduled meetings that have agendas that are published in advance so the topics are known, that have an opportunity for an open forum so residents can voice their concerns, is vital in order to have a real well-functioned HOA. The second thing is increased community activities. And we've had a few activities that have been wonderful. You really build a sense of community around the activities when neighbors get to come together with other neighbors and interact. And we need to be thoughtful on how we schedule those and make sure it's done in advance, make sure it's inclusive of all of our neighbors, so different age groups, different interests, different backgrounds. We can plan events in advance to make sure that all of those considerations are happening. And then the third thing is increasing the committees. We have some committees that were started back up. However, there are a few others that I think are really important for this neighborhood. Among those are the Diversity Committee, the Budget and Finance Committee, and the Communications Committee. Those 3 areas I think are vital to bringing the community back together, to have people's concerns addressed, and really make Richwoods the place that it truly can be. So I have one ask of everybody before you vote in this election, to take a moment and think back over the past year, what Richwoods was like when we moved into the neighborhood, a year ago versus what it looks like now and everything that's taken place in the past year. A very easy way to do that actually is to go back and visit the Richwoods HOA website and reread the newsletters. Those are very insightful on what has happened over the past year. Pay attention to the tone, the way that the board has been speaking to the residents as a whole. Pay attention to the promises that were made and whether or not they were delivered. I encourage you to go back and reread those before you make your vote and decide if the current board is doing everything that you think is best for the community, then by all means, vote for them again. But I think if you look closely at what is out there and what has happened over the past year, you'll realize that Richwoods deserves better and that there are people in this neighborhood willing to serve and provide that level of service that we all deserve. Thank you.